Hey, this is Philippe, the Learn to Grow guy. There are certain things happening around us in our world today, especially right now in LA, and other events that are planned for this coming Saturday, the 14th of June. Something that I think that needs to be discussed or something to be said about. Okay. Now, we thought that January 6th was a big to do. Okay. That was supposed to be the Republican side doing whatever it is that they wanted to accomplish or made known. Okay. In today's day and time, we currently have riots happening down there in LA, and stuff is being destroyed. Okay. There is a young lady who made a video pertaining to that, and I'm going to try to include that in the descriptions below. Okay. But she discusses what's going on and why people are doing some of the things that they're doing. Now, if we thought what happened in January 6th was a bad thing, imagine having a bunch of boycotts scheduled for all over the country, all to happen all at the same time on June 14th. Guys, all I can tell you is this, okay? We have a group of people out there in the world. I guess you can say they selected themselves to be rulers of the world, but they don't exactly do it through elections. It is something that they do to for themselves. Now, again, we do not select these people. They're self-appointed. They decide they know what is best for us, for everybody. One of the things I like to draw upon is the Appalachian history. Once upon a time in Appalachia, you had blacks and whites living together, working together in mines, until one day the elite, or whoever they may be, decided that they're going to pay the whites more money than the blacks. What did that do? That caused a divide between the two peoples. Now you end up with one group of people thinking that they were better than the other group, and you had another group which had to try to fight for everything so that they can take care of their families just the same. Okay, all they did was just divide the people up. You can look throughout history. Okay, you can look in Africa. You had Gaddafi there. When he tried to unite his people and try to do well for his people, what happened? They took him out. The powers that be took him out. You can look at the young man who's over there in Africa now trying to unite the people. He kicked the French out of his country. They're mining their own gold, making their own money. And of course, as you know, that if you're going to try to do anything to do good for your people or to unite your people, the powers that be will try to take you out. And of course, from my understanding, there has been at least 18 attempts in this man's life already. We can look here to the United States. You had Malcolm X trying to unite the people here. And of course, what happened? Powers that be make sure that he was taken out. You have saving the Black Panthers, okay? Black Panthers was not only about trying to serve black people, they were also trying to take care of the poor, even white poor people as well. And I guess when the powers that be realized what was happening, they even brought bombs and did whatever they needed to do to make sure that the program did not continue as it was supposed to be, which is a way to unite the people. And you can look all throughout history. You're going to find the same thing whenever anybody tries to do any type of good, trying to unite the people, things get divided. I'm not saying that's what Trump is. I'm not saying that he's the great uniter of the people. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, because there are things that he's doing that I don't necessarily agree with. One thing, getting people's personal information and shared with with other entities. Okay, but I'm going off to the side here. Let me get back on track. Okay, now pertaining to this coming weekend's event. Okay, my recommendation to you is that you do not participate, because trust me, the powers that be will bring in paid actors to do mischief on your behalf. Okay, the same way they used to bust people in to try to get them to the border so that they can do whatever it was that they needed to do at the border to try to mess things up here in this country. Trust me, they will hire people to come in to do mischief on your behalf. So my recommendation to you is do not participate. Now, these people, okay, these elitist folks, okay, they tend to like to do things in cycles, okay. From my understanding, okay, I forget what the name of the system is, but it's like every 80 years they make sure that something major happens to try to bring about a shift in this country and potentially even worldwide, okay. So my thing is, again, do not participate. Do not participate in these things. They odds are they're going to sell it to you so that it's something that you want. It's something you think that's going to bring about the changes that you may be wanting. Keep in mind that one of the things that they like to do is that they like to take you from one extreme to another, okay, and somewhere in the middle, okay, this is Jesuit thinking, okay, somewhere in the middle is what they actually want. All right, so therefore they take you to one extreme like Biden and then the other extreme like Trump. They don't give you anything in the middle, but they want you to react, to respond to whatever it is they put in front of you in a way that will give them what they're looking for. So therefore my recommendation to you is that you do not participate in these things that's up and coming. Now, again, the actors will come in. How long will they do their thing? I don't know. I don't know. We can look back to the riots back in 2020. How long did that last? And again, if the LA riots has been going on for so long at this point, trust me. Well, I don't want to say trust me, but let's observe and let's take a look and see if they try to get the events they've got planned for this coming Saturday, the 14th of June, if it's going to last for more than just that one day. Okay. I don't know what these folks have planned. I'm not one of the so-called elite. I'm just a person out here trying to get you ready so that whatever happens, you're somewhat ready, okay? We can never be 100% prepared for anything and everything that may be thrown our way. Okay. To me, here's some of the solutions that you need to consider, all right? Some of the things you need to do now so that you can make sure that the nonsense does not have negative impact on yourselves and on your families. Number one, my recommendation to you is that you be prayed up. Okay? I'm saying be prayed up because you need that proper relationship between you and God so that He gives you His wisdom so that you don't do anything foolish. Okay? You don't want to be doing anything foolish. Be prayed up. Get your relationship with God in order because you never know what may or may not happen. And part of that being prayed up is to do Bible studies, study Bible prophecy to see what the Word of God says, and and as you study Bible prophecy to see what the Word of God says, pay attention to what's happening around you because some of the stuff may be getting fulfilled or is in the process of being fulfilled. Okay, you want to pay attention to what's happening around you. Item number two. You want to be prepared to share the gospel with people, all right? Because odds are there's a lot of people that are borderline Christians or a lot of people who are seekers, okay, who may need that extra boost in, how you say, in somebody sharing the gospel with them, answering some questions for them, okay, so that they can actually make that cross so that they are actually living in godly wisdom. All right, and part of that is again to do not just sharing the gospel, but you want to do Bible, be prepared to do Bible studies with them. Okay, and some books I would recommend distributing if you get a chance to do so would be some of Ellen G. White's books, such as The Great Controversy, also Steps to Christ. All right. Now, those two books are my recommendations. If you believe that there's other books you could distribute, um, by all means do so as long as it is something that's going to bring people closer to God and give them an understanding of what is happening in the world at this time. All right. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Ellen G. White, I would recommend that you look her up, study some of the materials that she gives. She recommends country living. She recommends how you say getting your life right with Christ. That's thus the book Steps to Christ. Okay. Look her up, study her up, and but nonetheless, the two books I recommend are Steps to Christ and The Great Controversy. If you're going to read The Great Controversy, start around chapter 8, going all the way to the end, and then you can always double back and go to the beginning. Okay. All right. Item number 3. Okay, is to buy the supplies that you have a need for, whether it's food. Okay. If you're not canning already, putting stuff away, I would recommend that you do that before Saturday because, again, we don't know what may or may happen. My viewpoint is to be prepared. Now, you want to, I believe that shelves may be empty. Okay, shelves may get emptied. I think we all can relate as pertaining to empty shelves if we go back to 2020. I remember personally when they shut down the state of Illinois. I remember I was buying some. I was buying a couple of shotguns at the time. Okay, and the wife decided that she wanted to stop by a grocery store to pick up a few things, and I'm like, why do you want to stop at the grocery store? We were well stocked at home because I figured something was happening, so we were pretty much prepared. And so we went to the grocery store, and everything was gone off the shelves. Everything was gone. Okay, people do panic. If you prepare ahead of time, again, we cannot be prepared for everything, but we can be prepared for as much as we're able to be prepared for. Okay. Now, toilet paper. I'm not saying to go out and rob the shelves of all toilet paper, but the things that you know that you have a need of, whether it's toothpaste, whether it's toothbrushes, whether again food, supplies, laundry detergent, whatever it is that you use, make sure that you acquire some of those and put them off to the side and save them. Okay. Excuse me. As it pertains to food and your supplies, my viewpoint is very much this. I don't believe in hogging everything. If you're able to share with others, share with others. Okay, some people may not have the means. Now, my viewpoint again is to share with others as needed. And so, therefore, my recommendation is that you pray and ask God to multiply the supplies, especially the food that people may have a need for, so that it can go a long way much further. I mean, there's plenty of examples in the scriptures as to where God multiplied food and things of that nature so that people could be fed. You can look to the Old Testament where the old lady and her son, she figured that she'll fix one last loaf of bread for her and her son to eat, and then they would be ready. They would be prepared to die. And then the man of God steps in, asks her to make him a loaf first, and then after that she can make for herself. She stepped out on faith and she did what she was supposed to do, and God provided for her all throughout the famine that was happening in the land. Jesus himself, he made food multiply. Okay, as to where he fed many thousands of people. It's not just the men that were fed; it was also the women and children that were fed as well. Okay, so again, be sure to pray up and ask God to multiply the supplies. So that as you share, as you consume for yourselves, that God is able to provide and sustain you all. All right. Next item. Stay out of the large cities as much as possible. Okay. I remember the lootings that happened in Chicago. Okay. I remember the looting that happened in Chicago. I remember watching looting happening, and I even called the police because of the looting that was happening, and police never arrived. Okay. Um, Again, the powers that be, the elitist folks, their thing is odds are is to destroy your life the way that you're living now, so that you're worse off and have to depend upon them. Okay, but nonetheless, my recommendation is stay out of the cities as much as possible. Item number 5: be prepared for power outages as well as fuel outages, fuel shortages. Okay, now what may happen, again, we don't know. My viewpoint is to be prepared. Fuel prices may go up. If you have a generator, you may want to buy up and stock up on some fuel. If you have other means, things that require fuel, whether it's a tractor, riding mower, whatever it is that you may have a need for, my recommendation is to stock up on some extra fuel. Be sure to use fuel preserver in there. All right. Be sure to put fuel preserver in there so that the fuel is able to be used long term. All right. Okay. Number 6. Be prepared to defend yourself and your family. Okay. Be prepared to defend yourself and your family. Now, you can defend yourself and your family. All right. And how you say? You don't have to hate somebody who's attacking you to defend yourselves from them. Okay. Be prepared for such things, okay? Because there are people out there who will try to be a fool and try to take advantage of situations that does not should not be. You understand what I'm saying? People will want to be a fool, but you don't want to let fools come in and do harm to your family. Be prepared to defend yourselves and your family. I'll just leave it at that. Number 7. If you have not done so, my recommendation to every last one of you out there is to plant a garden, and of course plant something extra just in case, because you never know who may have a need for it. Okay, so therefore plant a garden. All right. There's many people out there who have videos on how to get a garden started. Okay, there are many people out there who have videos on those things. Right now, we still have access to the internet. We still have access to books and libraries. Do what you got to do. And you have YouTube University, all right? Utilize those things and get yourselves prepared and plant yourself a garden. I know it sounds like there's a lot that needs to be done. Just because Saturday may kick off, that things may kick off Saturday, that does not necessarily mean that you may not have time to do it thereafter. But nonetheless, my recommendation is get a garden going as soon as quickly as possible. Lastly, you gotta love one another, y'all. You gotta love one another. I know that I would not do you harm if I loved you, and I know that you would not do me harm if you truly loved me. You see what I'm saying? Um, you gotta love one another. You know, that's how people know. That's how people know who God's people truly are. All right. You have to love one another. That's what Jesus recommended. That's what you can read throughout the scriptures, and you're going to see the same thing, which is to love one another. All right. That is the way of God's kingdom. That is his way. I mean, think about it, man. You know, he loves us. God loves us so much that he sent his one and only begotten son down here to die for us, to pay a hefty price, which was his own life, so that we may be redeemed, so that we may have life and have it more abundantly. Okay. And if we're living a life of abundance, and it's not just to pertain to material things, full life full of joy and things like that. I mean, if you're living that type of life, you're not going to want to do harm to other people. Okay, you're not. You're not. And if you're living that abundant life that God has provided, you're living that life in wisdom as well. Okay, which means that a lot of the foolishness that the powers that be want you to get out there and do, it ain't gonna happen. Okay, you're not gonna want to do that. Okay, so again, June 14th, don't participate. Do not participate. You have a elite group of folks who's trying to control everything that you and I do, how we live our lives. Um, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, some people may want to say, yeah, Philippe's talking conspiracy theory, but it's not a conspiracy theory, y'all. Okay? Um, peace to you. May God bless you. May God be with you. Okay? But stay out of the cities, y'all. Stay out of the mess and get yourself and your families prepped up. Okay. Take care.